You know, if you think the BS in Formula 1 can't get stacked up any higher, well, it certainly does here, lads. This is one thing I'm losing my mind here over this. When I used to race cars, I never read the rule books, alright? So, you know, it was even one follower there only just pointed this out to me the other day, and thank you, by the way, for pointing this out to me. And if I was racing and if I never read a rule book, well, I'm certainly not going to be reading the Formula 1 rule book. Too boring. But there's one article here and one rule that blows my mind. Imagine you're about to race. You're a Formula 1 driver. You're putting in all this prep work at the start of the year, midway through the year, 3/4 way through the year. You're training 4 to 6 hours a day for fitness when you're not at the track. And that's exactly what they do, lads, because I was doing even 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, and I wasn't even in Formula 1. So these guys have to do a lot more. 4 to 6 hours a day. They have to eat the healthy food, the right food, be in bed at a good time. And then a curveball's thrown at you. And that curveball, we're about to show you here on the screen. You're told you've got to swap drivers, and not just swap. You're up for the championship. And then you have to allow some a-hole that you don't even know jump in your car and let him take the car around the track with the risk that he's going to ride the car off, crashing the car, and if he does, you're done for the whole weekend. Done. And then guess what? You get no points. That is how nuts this is. Let me bring this up on screen. Okay, lads. So, get a load of this. Changes of driver. 32.1 section in the Formula 1 sporting regulations for 2024. A change of driver may be made at any time before the start of the sprint shootout at each competition where a sprint session is scheduled, or at any time before the start of the qualifying session at each competition where a sprint session is not scheduled, provided any change proposed after the end of initial scrutineering receives the consent of the stewards. Additional changes for reasons of force majeure will be considered separately. Okay. Then we have 32.4. Now let's go through this one. In addition to the provisions of Article 32.1, each competitor will be permitted to use additional drivers during P1 and P2 provided that the FIA are informed which cars and drivers each competitor intends to use. Part 2, no more than 2 drivers are used in any one session. Part 3, on one occasion during the championship, for each car entered for the championship, each competitor must use a driver who has not participated in more than 2 championships in their career. Each competitor must advise the FIA in writing 7 days prior to the start of the relevant competition with the details of the driver that they will use. Now let's just highlight this area here, okay? Now, in addition to the article above, each competitor will be permitted to use additional drivers during P1, provided that... Now, permitted doesn't say you must. Right? Unless, am I missing something here? This means that provided that you do inform the FIA, no more than 2 other drivers using any one session, okay? That means if you want to use another driver, you can do so. Right? It's not saying they must. Again, I mean, I'm looking at this. Will be permitted to use additional drivers provided that. Guys, this is a very, very... This is sick. Please, for the love of God, someone write a comment and tell me that I'm reading that wrong. No, honestly, am I reading this wrong? Are they saying that they must use drivers? Are they saying that you're permitted, providing that you can do that? Because either way here, in Mexico, we seen the IndyCar driver jump into Lando Norris's car in practice 1. I said only just a few days ago, lads, there is no way. You would have to peel my body off the car from allowing any dickhead getting into my car and taking it out on track, risking crashing the car. I mean, guys, who drives here on the road? Do you let anybody drive your normal road car on the road? Do you? I mean, is it your pride and joy? Is it your pride and joy? And I guarantee you, if it is your pride and joy, something tells me you're not letting anyone drive your car. Even if a Formula One pilot jumped into your car, you probably wouldn't, right? Now, maybe you would because, you know, oh, I'm a Verstappen fan or Hamilton fan, whatever. Okay, I'd understand that. But do you really want anybody jumping into your car? Your road car? Now, imagine this. People have no idea what it's like. The racing helmet and the racing car is the racing driver's pride and joy. It is your cock. If anybody screws with it, it is like chopping your knob off. And I'm being dead serious. And I'll tell you one other thing. I have told my family, touch wood, God forbid, a long time from now, when I'm getting buried, I want to be buried with this helmet that you see right in front of me. It's going to my grave. And I'm putting this on a public forum. Now, you might think, that's a bit weird, is it? It's not for a racing driver. It's not. We all want something to come with this, right? And this baby is going with me. If I could bring one of my racing cars from back in the day, I would too. Be a bit too big, but this is the way it is. And letting someone else into your car ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. I am shocked and appalled of Zak Brown. Now, guys, I'll just say it one more time. Unless I am missing something here and I'm not reading that correctly, it seems to me that Zak Brown actually wanted that IndyCar driver to go out in Mexico, risk crashing the car, and put Lando Norris on a borderline edge as an, oh, jeez. And I guarantee you, and I know racing drivers, I guarantee you Lando Norris was sitting there going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He probably couldn't even watch. He was just waiting for the thing to go in. And it is certainly not adding trust in the relationship with Zak Brown and his driver. Why didn't they put him into Oscar Piastri's car? Why didn't they put him into Oscar Piastri's car? Now, let's flip it around. If I'm reading this, and guys, honestly, I've read this about 5-6 times already, okay? And you might be thinking, Peter, what's up with you, man? Are you all right? I'm not all right because I have never seen anything so bloody crazy in all my life. And I'm almost wiping my eyes, lads, because I can't believe what I'm reading here. I have to be wrong, right? There's no way Zak Brown would let some a-hole jump into his car and take it on the track. No way. It has to be a written rule that you must do this, right? But now, hang on a second. Has anybody taken Hamilton's car out this year? Russell's? Verstappen's car? I can't remember any time this year so far where they have. And I guarantee you this. Max Verstappen would have something to say about it. Lewis Hamilton would have something to say about it. George Russell would have something to say about it. What's the resolve, lads? Maybe it's time to rewrite that rule book. Because at the end of the day, a race belongs to the driver and no rule, no policy should take that away. And especially a team boss taking it away from his driver. Enough said.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front with the fifth all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.